So now we're going to talk about object-oriented programming. So object-oriented programming is a concept or like a philosophy almost that's pretty common across a lot of different programming languages. The basic idea is that you create an object just like you would in the real world in your programs. And those objects have properties, they have events, and they have methods. So an example might be a house, a car, or a person. And each one of these objects, will be able to do different types of things. So properties are things about that object. So for a hotel, it might be the address, the number of rooms in the hotel, things like that. For a car, it could be the make and the model of the car, the year of the car, etc. Events are basically are different types of things that can happen once you have your object. So when a button is clicked or a room is booked, it can trigger different types of events specifically for that object. And then methods are functions that, similar to what we talked about last time, that are used specifically for that object. And the reason why it's sometimes nice to use methods instead of a function is a function is just a piece of code that can be run multiple times. But you have to basically run the function, specifically for that object. And it's not always easy to do that. With object-oriented programming, you can basically say a hotel room can have this method which runs the function on that hotel room. So instead of having to have a function called book hotel room and then pass along the object that you want to book for it, this allows you to say, okay, let's say Marriott book hotel room will be an object that can call a method book hotel room and already automatically books it for the hotel room Marriott that you're currently using. So this is just like a nice, easier, cleaner way to write code. And it also allows for a lot of built-in methods in different types of programming, like string.length is a built-in method in the object string. And this just allows you to very easily and quickly write code that calls functions on whatever it is that you want to write it on. So it's a little conceptually hard to understand at first, but it's a pretty intuitive concept once you get the hang of it. And it definitely makes your coding a little cleaner and a little easier. So now we're going to talk a little bit about just object constructors and classes. So one way to basically create an object is or an object constructor is to use this syntax here for JavaScript. Here we're basically saying function and then capital M for the object constructor. So movie star with a capital M instead of most functions have lowercase for the function name. This is just a syntax thing to make it a little bit more obvious what's a function versus what's a class or object constructor. I kind of use those words interchangeably, object or class constructor. They're pretty similar. There's some nuances, but you really need to worry about those. So this function, this object constructor movie star basically takes two parameters, which are going to be the properties of that object. So it'll be name and birthday. So the syntax below basically says, with this, when you're creating a new object that's in the type or class movie star, is going to take name and birthday, and this dot name will just set it equal to the name that you put in. This dot greeting, and then the function is a method. And in this method, you're basically alerting the user that, hi, this is my name, or my name is this dot name. So this is just a greeting for movie stars that can be called. So this is going to make a little bit more sense once we actually start using it. So to create a new object using the class that we just created, it's similar to any other variable. So you do var and then the variable name, or the object name in this case, Tom_Cruise. equals new and then movie star. And this is case sensitive, so make sure that the M is capitalized. And in this instance, we also capitalize the S for star. And then you just simply add in the name and the birthday, and this will automatically create a new object using the constructor that we created above. Same thing with the next example. You know, you can create something called Dwayne Johnson and have it be a new movie object. So this is pretty helpful later on. And it's sort of similar to how we would use a dictionary, but the big advantage here is that you can easily create it again, as well as it already has built-in methods. So similar to a dictionary, just slightly different. So to recall or change the values, we use similar notation as we would use for a dictionary. We can use the object or variable name, so Tom Cruise.birthday. That will return Tom Cruise's birthday. We can also use the brackets with birthday and quotations in between the brackets. And then we can also assign a new value to Tom Cruise's birthday by just using the similar notation as we have before. And then whenever we want to call any method associated with an object, we just use this dot, whatever the method name is, and then parentheses. And then if that method takes in any sorts of variables, we can also put it in the parentheses here. So again, this is just a really easy, simple way to create objects and make your code a little bit cleaner. You can also create lists of objects. So you can create a list, and within the list, there's Tom Cruise, and then you could add Dwayne Johnson to your star list by using the dot push method that any list has. So again, these are going to be pretty useful overall later on, and it's just a nice way to write clean code.